Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Welcome to another mixed bag where we talk about a few different topics that has been coming in the comments field over on Instagram or things that I just noticed myself. First of all, got some questions. Kokinakis, this great player, Aussie guy, won his first ATP Tour title in the beginning of the year in Australia. He is playing with a new racket, a blacked out racket that looks exactly like some kind of Aero Pro Drive. He was an Aero Pro Drive user in his early days. Could be the new Pure Aero even, but it's in the Aero series, I'm pretty sure, just by looking at the profile of the frame. He was playing with the E-Zone 98 for quite a while this whole season pretty much, but now he seems to be keen on testing something new. Maybe Babla wanted to get him back on board, or he just wanted to go back to his junior frame. This happens from time to time on the ATP Tour, that they feel like they just need a change for some reason. And you know how it is with rackets. It's easy to kind of want to try something new, see how that affects your game. And it could be the new Pure Aero. Hard to say just from these pictures of a blacked out frame, but he's definitely not using any kind of Yonex racket. So we'll see what happens for 2023. It could just be testing now, and we'll see the next season what he's gonna play with. I got some questions about Fritz racket in the ATP finals. He got to the semifinals. Good tournament from Fritz. We predicted big things from him on the Tennis Nerd podcast, so make sure to check in on that one every week. Audio episode on the Tennis Nerd podcast, sometimes 2 episodes depending if I have guests on, but every week I do one with Dennis Tima where we discuss everything tennis and outside tennis. Fritz racket is just a Laver Cup painted racket I used there. And nothing special. It's his old IG Radical MP that he has spec'd up that is not actually so heavy. And I've seen some pro player rackets up close in Marbella, for example, from ATP high ranked players, and they're not that heavy, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of 330 swing weight strung rackets that are used on the highest levels of the tour. So you don't need a 350, 360 swing weight, which seem to be what people think, just because Andy and Novak uses that, who's a little bit of the older generation. But the newer generation players are using pretty realistic swing weights. I would say 330 is kind of the upper range from most club level players. But for a pro, it's kind of in the lower range, but very doable to play with a 330 swing weight. So that's nothing extraordinary at all. Is Sebastian Korda using the new Wilson shift? Yes, that is highly possible. It might not be the Blade 98 with the 18-19 pattern. Maybe it's some form of the shift. Those are rumors floating around. I hope to get my hands on the Wilson shift in December if I'm meeting Henrik, or my friend and contributor on Tennis Nerd. He has a Wilson shift racket, the one that featured in the Tennis Nerd video, and I would love to try it if we meet up in Marbella. For some reason, I don't get any shift rackets from Wilson, so that's just how it is. There will be a Babla Pure Aero Rafa coming out next year. I think it's in February. They have an Origin one that is the Rafa specs, so you're going to get a signature Rafa racket, and there will also be a lighter version for you Rafa fans. I really like the Pure Aero Rafa design. The newer pics I've seen are not as fantastic in my opinion, but you have to see a racket up close. You can't make your mind up on pictures only. It always looks a bit different when you hold it in your hand. A lot of interesting racket releases to look forward to. We have the new Yonex V-Core update in January as well. So I think in time for the Australian Open, we will see a lot of new rackets coming out on the market. Could be the Shift, could be the V-Core, could be the new Aero Rafas. Will be an exciting year 2023 on the racket front for sure. Talking about Rafa, I've run a giveaway on my Instagram page, so you have to make sure to follow Tennis Nerd Insta if you're on Instagram. Together with Babla Sweden, I've been giving away a signed Babla Pure Aero Rafa, signed by Rafa himself. It's not his actual personal frame, but it's a signed racket from Rafa. Put it on the wall if you win. It's going to be a great thing to have at home. The legend in tennis, Rafa Nadal. So if you haven't entered, you might still have a few hours to do so. The draw will happen on Monday, which is tomorrow. So check that out on Tennis Nerd Insta or Babla Sweden. Big thanks to all patrons of Tennis Nerd. You guys who've been loyal and supported the Tennis Nerd journey for years, and some of you are new. You get access to loads of extra content. I'm trying to do something every week, maybe even 2 or 3 times a week, depending on my workload, but I'm always trying to give extra info, extra content on Patreon to make sure it's worth your while. And I've been detailing my racket journey there. I've put some rackets for sale there. So if you want to support the work I do, you can either go on Patreon, you can buy my online course, The Road to the Right Racket, All the links are in the description. You can buy something from my affiliates like Tennis Warehouse or the other brands in the description. So if you want to support the work I do, please do that. And if you need personalized help, there's also a racket consultation service if you click help on the Tennis Nerd website. That is all for this quick mixed bag. Just wanted to loop in on a few things. Have a nice day and don't forget to play some tennis.